Let's take a look at that interview that I did on sports marketing and branding. When we come back, we continue with this discussion of World Cup qualifiers, and I will be talking about tomorrow's match, Kenya versus Rwanda. Keep it right here. Bwana Herbert, thank you so much for joining on the spot today. It's quite a pleasure to have you. I know you've been here before, but how have you been?
I'm good, Florence, and I'm happy to see you. Happy to see that you're still continuing one of the best shows in Kenya. I really like the way you do your sports. Well-researched, well-balanced, well-educative, well-informative. I could describe it more, but I think you're doing a great job, and I'm happy to be back.
All right, thank you so much. Today we have a very important topic that I feel is very relevant, not only for Kenyan footballers, but also Africa as a whole. And you being a football administrator and a marketer, I know you're in a position to bring us up to speed with what we need to do to change the current scenario. But what does it really take for one to be a brand worthy and maybe to be considered as a brand ambassador?
One, to be considered as a brand ambassador, one must be actually having certain skills and talents and attractive characteristics to any consumer product that would want to take on as a brand product. Yeah? I'm looking at somebody like Lionel Messi, or even here locally, somebody like Eliud Kipchoge. These are successful athletes, yeah, in their own right, successful sportsmen. They are high earners, and anytime you put a value to them or a product associated with them, the product that is associated with them receives a higher net worth in terms of branding. The brand identity increases such that making the product have a brand worth as associated with the person. So the brand ambassador is the person who is able to push that product because of his own personal net worth as a talented, skillful, and highly successful sportsman.
Mm-hmm. You've actually given two very important, let me say, case studies. You've talked of, let's say, someone like Lionel Messi and Kipchoge. But in the case of Kipchoge, you see, I want to equate his success to majorly it's an individual effort because he runs as an individual. It's not a team sport. And also for Lionel Messi, he started at a very tender age, and he came up through a system to be who he is today. What is lacking, especially in the African context, that is maybe not enabling players to go to such heights?
I would say that it's all about packaging oneself, and it's on twofold here. Lionel Messi, let me take him for example, has had high-level quality advisors from the time he was a young child to where he was, and his exposure. He's been exposed to TV, he's been exposed to media from a very tender age. I think here in Africa, we struggle with media exposure as well as product packaging as a brand for the people that we have as successful athletes. I'm not saying we have not had successful athletes on the African continent or sportsmen or women, but I think we do not have the right systems in place, or even the corporate structures that are there don't have much faith in sports as a whole to be able to see the value of high marketability of some of our sportsmen.
Would you say this is an issue that is majorly affecting the entire continent of Africa, specifically zooming into football alone?
I'll say in some places, sportsmen are really good brand ambassadors. Let me take South Africa, for example. Their country has invested a lot in sports. Their government has invested a lot in sports. And some of these things that if a government invests in sports, South Africa, Morocco, Egypt, to name a few examples, then the private sector follows. The private sector looks for the trendsetters. The private sector looks for successful influencers. And you can see that if some of those sportsmen are highly successful in both their collective and the individual capacities, then you find them being brand ambassadors for their countries. I mean, you can look at somebody like if I say, let me take our own Wanyama, for instance, because of his success, having played in the Premier League and now he's in Canada, And that's a very top-right brand as a footballer because of his success. He's played in among the best leagues in the world. He's shown that he can match about the best. He's played in the Champions League, and he's been the captain of the national team. So he's himself, in terms of marketability, is successful, and he's been picked up by foreign brands out there. I don't see much happening here because our companies are not investing much in sports to see the net return. It's all about having that key brand identity that brings about the net worth of an individual that you can see. If I'm associated with somebody like Wanyama or Lunga, then my numbers will grow. My numbers for my products will grow. My number of consumers or even likes or new consumers will grow. We have to have that balance and faith in that our own local sportsmen in Kenya and other parts of Africa can be successful brand ambassadors, so that it's a win-win situation for both the product or the corporate as well as the ambassador himself.
Mm-hmm. So I'd want to know, what is the role of people like you, Herbert, being a sports administrator and also a marketer? What role are you guys playing to brand or to position our footballers and other sportsmen and women to become brand ambassadors?
Well, what we're doing at present is trying to first bring awareness to the sportsmen as to how valuable they are, what their financial net worth is. In terms of them as successful sportsmen. First of all, you must have certain characteristics. You must have talent. You must be able to show that you are a successful sportsman, and also you're attractive to the general public. Then on the other hand, we're also talking to corporate companies. We're also talking to organizations that believe in sports, that believe in investing in sports, so that they can see the value of being associated with so-and-so as a sportsman. I mean, look at your Olympians who have just come back from Japan. Some of them are already having a higher net worth. And look at the sprinter, Ferdinand. Is it Amanyala?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
His net worth right now is on a high. If you watch him yesterday, he won a 100-meter race. We have not seen a Kenyan having such a successful run at 100 meters. So he's definitely attractive. He's hot he's the hot kid on the block right now. That's a kind of property that any successful brand company, big company here or even small, could pick on to leverage and grow. Yeah, but you see, it's so we're having these discussions with various companies, but also the environment, the economic environment has got to be right. You can't rule that out. Yeah, the economic companies that spend on advertising and marketing must have budgets that are suffice to work in an environment. Yeah, and if you look at the last 2 years, the COVID pandemic has really hit companies in terms of profitability and even their own reserves. So it's a number of factors. But if you have a leap of faith, if you believe in that associating with somebody like Faith Kipyegon can add net worth to your value, can increase your sales in this difficult moment, then there are certain companies that would be willing to take that risk. You know, in every downturn, there's an opportunity. It's who is willing to take the risk.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, I'll also still give an example of football. For example, our top flight league in the country currently does not even have a sponsor. How does the success of the league determine or affect the success of footballers?
They definitely go hand in hand. Yeah. If we have a successful league, means we have a successful brand. Yeah. It means our players are playing in a successful brand at the same time. But I want to take you even further. The success of a player at times more so is even measured by the success of the role he plays in a national team, right? If you have a player in a successful national team, that means success is collectively as well as individually. So if your league is successful, your national team is successful, then your players' net worth even increases. And that's how you find in a situation that certain players are able to be signed by clubs in Europe because of their individual net worth, the brand worth increasing because of those successes.
Mm-hmm. We had an opportunity a while back, few years back, where we would actually beam the top flight league in the country on a platform such as Super Sport. And I believe you were part of what was happening at that particular point. And that was really good for this country and for the footballers. But if those things are no longer there, on an individual level, what are our athletes in general supposed to do? How can they position themselves even without relying on those external factors to ensure that they can actually position themselves and actually be considered as brand?
I think it's about now personal packaging. And as I said, increasing one's own brand identity by showing what individual success and talents that one is able to exhibit. Especially in the area of football. And football is a team game, right? And if you have a successful plan, I could pick up certain players in this year's Premier League, Kenyan Premier League, that are certainly showing success and would be ideal for marketing and branding opportunities. Eric Kapaito of one of the local teams, he's the top scorer at present in the league. And that's a hot property, and that's showing success at an individual level. Same with somebody like Elvis Rupia. Yeah, they're banging in the goals, meaning that they're success. So they're being noticed even more by fans and media, and this is where the media comes into play to raise the profile, yeah, of those kind of players who are already successful at an individual level. A good goalkeeper who's keeping clean sheets is also somebody who basically is showing individual success within a team. So those are the kind of fundamentals that one looks at. I even want to go to the issue of self packaging by social media. The tools these days are there. Yeah, you have YouTube, you have Facebook, you have TikTok, you have Snapchat. Okay, a lot of these players need managers who are able to manage them on a personal level. So call them social media marketing managers, to be able to brand them so that they are out there. Yeah, if there's somebody like Kapaito is associated with such a brand, and you can see the number of likes that he has, yeah, then that translates into a higher net worth that any good corporate would want to be associated with. I'm sure you get what I'm talking about.
Yes. Very quite amazing. So what would be your call, especially to, first of all, I want to believe we still have a competitive league, and we still have other sporting disciplines that are doing very well, and hopefully we get to see our sportsmen benefiting more or becoming brand ambassadors. But what basically would be your clarion call to the managers of these sporting disciplines, as well as the sportsmen themselves?
My clarion call to the sportsmen and sportswomen is look at yourself in terms of being able to sell, to have a net worth, yeah, which is basically translating into a brand worth, especially those who are actually having a good run in terms of success, be it in football, be it in basketball, be it in swimming, be it in athletics. Yeah, you have your top performers who can actually seek professional advice to see how they can be packaged so as to leverage on their brand net, yeah, so that they can be attracted by corporates, so that they can push products, they can have even more consumer appeal. I would advise sportsmen to look at their commercial rights, yeah, because it's selling your commercial rights, yeah, that give you that higher net worth as a brand, that give you the opening to become a brand ambassador, and not just a brand ambassador, but a successful and highly paid brand ambassador.
I know we've talked about individuals. Before I let you go, let me give an example of a club like FC Leopards, a club like Gor Mahia. They have been struggling financially, and most of the time, according to my opinion, when they get sponsors, it's them who seem to be so desperate. It's like they do not know their worth, or they do not understand that they're actually a brand already. Why do you think this is the case? Is it because they do not understand the dynamics of maybe sports marketing, or they do not understand that they themselves are a brand? It's like they need these corporates more than the corporate need them.
Yeah, I'll say one thing for sure, Florence, is if these clubs would associate with the professionals in the field of marketing, especially more so sports marketing, I think then they would see even sunnier days ahead in terms of their net worth, in terms of their ability to bring in higher sponsorships, and at the same time, success on the field speaks for itself. Clubs that are well run, clubs that have little in terms of sideshows away from football and the sport, or are those that are attractive to sponsors, and they have the capability of earning a net value. Gor Mahia and FC Leopards are among the oldest clubs in this country with a rich history. Now, that history and success needs to be packaged to translate it into financial.
All right. Very informative. Hopefully, we get to talk more and more about what is happening in the sports world, marketing, and what you do as an administrator.
Thanks, Florence, and happy to see you again.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be getting in touch very soon. Asante sana.
Well, you've heard it from the horse's mouth. There is still a lot to be done when it comes to positioning our sportsmen and women to become brand ambassadors, from having the relevant skills to being surrounded by very able advisors. We'll keep talking to Herbert, Mwachiro, and other experts in regards to other relevant topics that are important to the sports fraternity as a whole. Thank you for watching, and keep it right here.